Yeah, I'm just waiting for people to get on. I know I'm live. I just give it a few seconds. Sometimes YouTube algorithm doesn't work real well. Uh, this is about how I see a way that Russia will end China's dominance in what they're doing with the One Belt Road Initiative and buying and building intentionally to bankrupt or yeah, well, basically to intentionally bankrupt these countries so that they can take ownership of them and their companies and whatnot, or supposedly something like that. I'm not too well versed on what they're trying. I know it's not going to work. And this individual episode of Niels Han Dynasty News, you should maybe, or who cares, should know. That didn't sound right, but whatever. I'm not a professional, or am I a financial advisor? But these are the pathways that I see that are already in place for Russia to squash the CCP's One Belt Road Initiative. Knowing that the CCP is wanting to, is building deep water ports and running all these excursions from through different countries to build up trade through water trade all around Africa so they can control more of the world trade. But here's the thing. The globe is warming. You know, call it what you want. The glaciers are receding. There is a consequence to that. Back in the day, there was this thing called the Cold War. Before we had a world treaty on the Antarctic and who owns it and how much and blah, 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 there was a rush. And a lot of countries threw up a lot of military bases and deep water ports, Russia most especially. That time passed after we, crushed the CCCP and they became Russia again. That time passed and no one was talking about it. I guess everyone was supposed to forget about it. But what happens when the globe is warming a little bit and that ice every year is easier and easier for the icebreakers to get through, making it more convenient? This is what I am here for. Let's see. Okay, do I want to start with that one? Okay, here we go. The North Sea route will be the shortest shipping path between Europe and Asia. It is 30 to 40% shorter than routes that use the Suez Canal, which save fuel and reduce environmental impact. So, as the world greens up or whatever, gets more carbon in it and it warms, or whatever the story is, I say it's a natural cycle, but I'm not a scientist either. All I do know is glaciers recede, uncovering farmhouses from the 12th century. Well, that means they were receded before the 12th century, so that, it seems like an ebb and flow kind of thing, but I haven't put enough study into that. But as the ice recedes, it opens up, it becomes thinner, and it's easier to break. You don't have to break as much. You don't have to waste as much time clearing it. And every import-export from one continent to another will use that route because it's 30 to 40% shorter. 30 to 40% shorter. That's 30 to 40% savings in time, energy, fuel, everything. It's just so much more profitable, and Russia controls that route. And let's see. This is what I'm fixing to tell you. Okay, Russia has set up a new Arctic command. It has opened hundreds of new and former Soviet-era Arctic military sites, including airfields and deep water ports. Russia is also using this region as a test bed for many of its new and novel weapons system. So now we know Russia already is opening up former and building new deep water ports in the Arctic, or the one that's in the north of Russia, Arctic, Antarctic. I think it's Arctic, actually. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. But so they're reopening ports and they're building new ports in the Arctic above Russia for this northern sea route to open up that'll save every country and company 30 to 40% time and fuel shipping goods and services around the world. So now let's go to icebreakers. Which country has the most icebreakers? Well, amazingly enough, America has 2 nuclear icebreakers. Even more amazingly than that, Russia is by far the largest operator of icebreakers in the world today, with an astounding fleet of 37 icebreaker ships and several more either planned or already under construction, bigger and better. So they are already prepared. All they need is to pull the trigger and guarantee an open shipping line for through winter, and even if not through winter, if they can do it for 3/4 of the year with icebreaker fleets they have, global warming, all these glacier receding, it's getting easier for them. If China is betting on all these African and South American ports that they're building and investing lots of money and hoping to take over by default of that poor country, well, if that's not needed because a northern route's open, what happens to China? They just lost hundreds of billions, if not trillions and trillions of dollars in investments, or yuan, or whatever you want to call it. They'll have lost all of that investment, and they'll probably lose all the deep water ports, and those would be beneficial to whatever country they're in. I know they took one from Kenya, and I'm not sure about any other. I'm sure there's many others. But anyhow, that's all I wanted to talk about today. I wanted to keep it short. Just want to let you know that Russia will economically squash the CCP because of the northern route above Russia. Russia has 37 icebreakers and several more under production, and quite a few of them are nuclear and heavy duty stuff. And it saves 30 to 40% in time and energy and fuel and cost and manpower and pay and everything else to take that northern route if it can be guaranteed to be open year round. Every country in the world will use it. That only benefits Russia. Now, just remember what I just said. China's investing all these deep water ports down south in Africa and South America, and everyone's going to abandon those because it's going to be cheaper and more efficient by 30 to 40% on every cost that you have in shipping to go Russia's route, and just pay them their toll to go that way. And so China's going to lose all that investment on top of all their foreclosures and the massive debt. You think America has debt? Oh, wow, yeah. Research that. Please research that. And add in the comments later on when you see this live stream what you think about the independent individual China person's debt to the CCP central bank with what they've been pulling in 2022 and even in continuing into 2023. Their economy is 10 times more fragile, if not 100 times more fragile than the U.S. economy. No matter what face they're putting on, they are a paper dragon. Anyhow, you guys have a nice evening, and I will talk to you later. Hey, look, I dressed up. Nice shirt and everything. Peace out, baby.